Chill and Heal with Chill Spa owner Chrissy Cantor on 99.9 and AM 1370 WFEA.
And let's head out to the beautiful Enchanted State. I think that's what it is. Well, enchantment is always the word we use when we introduce our guest, ladies and gentlemen, Chrissy Cantor from New Mexico. Hi, Chrissy.
Good morning, Mike and everyone. It's a beautiful day out in New Mexico. It's pretty crazy. It snowed here last night. I just wanted to welcome my dear friend Cassie to our Chill and Heal show. We're here to fuel your mind, body, and soul with goodness. We will connect, open up, share, be real, be raw, overcome, let go, learn, and grow together to simply live a happy life. Remember, sharing is caring, and we are not alone. And today's topic is survive and thrive in identity crisis. And I was lucky enough to meet Cassie, who is a great new friend and an author, a new author. Can you tell me a little bit about yourself, Cassie?
Well, hi, everyone. My name is Cassie Sanchez, and I've been living in Albuquerque, New Mexico. It's actually the land of enchantment. So we call it the land of entrapment, though, because once you're here, you never leave. Anyway, I am a wife and a mom of two boys. One's 23 and one's actually going to be 21 on Friday.
Wow.
And so I was lucky. I had a marketing major from the University of New Mexico, worked at a company for a couple of years, and then became a stay-at-home mom and did that for, now I'm a retired stay-at-home mom. So, so that's a little story about me. Just really pleasure to be here. I'm excited. I actually went to the University of New Hampshire for 6 months.
Oh my gosh, I didn't know that.
On student exchange, visited, Portsmouth, Maine, and stood on Lake Winnipesaukee and went to Kennebunkport and all of that. So it was fun.
Yeah, we're 45 minutes west of Portsmouth.
Okay.
We love Portsmouth.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So I was lucky enough to meet Cassie because being on the campaign trail, and Jay and Louie are great friends. And so Cassie was just so nice, so kind, and then I don't even know how it all started.
I think you interviewed me for some political thing, and then I said, well, if you ever want to interview me for some non-political thing, let me know, because I wrote a book, and then we just chit-chatted about options for how that would work out for your show. So, yeah.
And I was just like, where did you start with, wanting to write a book, all that kind of stuff? Because all of a sudden you dove into being an empty nester.
Yeah. So the story is, as a stay-at-home mom, that was pretty much my identity, even though I'd been warned not to make that my identity. It was my job, so therefore that's what I did, and that's who I was. And then as my older one was going off to college, and then my younger one started driving, I realized in my mind that, what was I doing with my life? What was my purpose? The kids didn't need me anymore. All my other friends were doing something else, and I just was really struggling with what the heck was I doing with my life. And even though logically I knew, hey, you raised two kids, this is a great accomplishment, I felt like I had nothing that was just mine. And so I started really struggling with what I wanted to do. Having not worked, in corporate world or anything for so many years, the idea of going back to an 8-to-5 job and having a boss when I've been essentially my own boss.
Yeah, you've been the boss.
Yeah. I had a schedule, I like to golf. I'm a huge nap enthusiast. I don't think anyone's going to hire me if I have to take an afternoon nap every day.
Yes,
yeah, that is very true. And so, I started searching for something to do. I looked into makeup. I looked into all different kinds of things. And then my younger son, Chase at the time, challenged me because I was reading so many books. Like 2 years in a row, I read over 75 books.
Oh, my gosh.
So,
that's a lot.
I had a lot of free time. So I was just really into the reading. And so he challenged me. He's like, hey, you like reading so much. Why don't you try writing a book? And, when I was younger, maybe mid-school, high school, I thought about a book, but I was not an English major. Like I said, I was marketing. That creative bent, I didn't really know I really had. So then I went to this creative writing class at our UNM Continuing Ed, And the first day of class, I was so nervous. I hadn't been to something like this in forever. I really just wanted to kind of vomit in the corner, in all honesty. And
I totally get it.
Yeah, I was so nervous. And the idea was the writer instructor would give you a prompt, and then you just sat down and write, and then you would read it out loud to the class. I'm like, oh, no. But thankfully, there were only 4 of us, so it was fine. And I walked out of that class so jazzed out of my mind. I was so excited. I was so pumped up. I had lunch with Louis, and I was just reading him everything I wrote. And I finally was like, this is what I want to do. So I quickly learned that there's a big difference between reading a lot of books and actually knowing how to write one.
Yeah, I can't even imagine.
Yeah, there's a lot to learn. So I always say I jumped into the deep end without floaties and started learning the craft of writing. So that's kind of how that whole story started.
That is unbelievable. Yeah, and I was just so blown away because I'm like, oh, how did you even know you had this talent? And then to craft it, so you jumped into doing some workshops.
Yep. So I did webinars. I mean, I think COVID started kind of happening a little bit after this, but I did a lot of webinars. I joined a writer's guild. Jerry Jenkins, he wrote the Left Behind series. He has his writer's guild, which is where I learned a ton of information. Bought books on writing. In fact, one of my favorite books on writing is actually Stephen King's memoir, and it's called The Craft of Writing, and his memoir is excellent. And I'm not even a Stephen King fan. He scares me. But
I can't read scary.
Yeah, I'm a big old chicken. I think I've read 2 now, and they are not the scary ones. But I actually kind of developed a little crush on Stephen King reading this book. I was like, I want to fly to Maine and buy him coffee in the daytime because he is scary at night. Anyway.
I love it.
So that was a great book. If anyone wants to read his memoir, it is actually excellent. So I just started learning, and I actually wrote a book before Chasing the Darkness. I wrote another one, and it's a mess. It's shelved right now because I was really just still learning. And then I started tackling some short stories. One of the first ones, a short story I wrote was about my dog learning how to be social again after his buddy we had to put down a dog. So poor little Gunner had to learn how to actually be social. And it was kind of a link between both of us, like me getting out into a different world and him going to our illegal dog park. So, it was just a lot of learning and a lot of just, trying it. I never knew that I had this ability or gift. Yeah. I mean, I do have, I always say I do have a little bit of a warped mind, as a mom of boys. I was always a huge Star Wars fan, Harry Potter fan. I remember I stood in line for a couple hours to get tickets for the very first Star Wars movie.
Yeah.
That was before Fandango and, online. So, which was actually an awful movie anyway, but I was just a total kind of geek. And then I found writing. I loved reading fantasy. So then I found writing fantasy was just really fun.
Mm-hmm. That's amazing. So, Stephen King, I have 2 friends that are authors. I actually have 3 friends that are authors. Mike is an author as well. Yes, Mike. Mike Moore is an author too. And then Dick Hatton, my dear friend, is an author, and he was Stephen King is the one that told him you need to write.
Oh wow.
Yeah. And so I told Dick, I'm like, I'm sorry, but your books are scary. And he goes, so he gave me one of his other books, and now I'm losing my mind. Oh, Janet's Mountain. I highly recommend that book. I'm a slow reader. It was really, really thick, but I couldn't put it down. I just can't do scary books. But he did say, where there is evil, there is always goodness. Mm-hmm. And I love that idea. And I didn't, so now I'm a little more open to reading maybe a couple scary books.
Yeah.
But so the fact that you love Stephen King, that his memoir. And then my other friend, who I cut her hair, Erin Bowman, she does workshops. And I just learned that this week when I was cutting her hair. Because I was, as I was understanding, like, how do you know when you find a gift and you find something you want to do, what do? And Cassie did that. You found some workshops. And so Erin has, you can go to www.embowman.com/workshops and check out some of her workshops. She's an author for young readers and young at heart. And yeah, so I have a couple of her books too.
Oh,
so I wanted to say that because I personally know her, and you know, anyways, there's so much to writing, and then you're a graphic artist too, right? No, you're marketing.
I was a marketing major, yeah, and which is kind of funny. So I love writing my books. I really do not like marketing them at all.
Well, you do a great job because I was
you.
blown away when I went to see you. Where did I go to Con?
Yeah, there was a Comic-Con in January. Those are my people. Those Comic-Cons, they're super fun, and they love fantasy. So I've done really well at the two here in New Mexico. But yeah, you came and visited and got to see my booth with my banner and all my stuff on the table. So
yeah, and that's when I picked up your book, and I love it, and I love the cover and Chasing the Darkness.
Yep.
I was like so intrigued by the name. Can you tell us a little bit about it?
Yeah,
I reread it twice just because I started it when I left, and then as soon as I get home, I put it down, and I'm like, I need to pick it back up. So I picked it back up, but I started from the beginning, and I'm like so pulled in. And I'm not a fantasy. I'm usually self-help.
Yeah, I don't do self-help. I don't like to better myself that often.
You know, everyone has a different style. Plus, I'm a slow reader, but I was totally pulled in. I love your characters, and I can't wait to know more.
Yeah.
But I'm just, and I felt like it was relatable to today, too.
Well, it's interesting when you said about the good and evil, because that is very much, this book is really, my protagonist is what you call an anti-hero. So he is kind of a bad guy that then, you know, gets on the right path, if you will. And I wanted him to have a sense of vulnerability. So this is one of the things I learned in many workshops, is that your antagonist and or an anti-hero needs a pet the dog moment, which is, imagine you have this really, you know, you have your bad guy. Well, you don't ever have someone who's 100% evil or someone who's 100% good. You have a mixture. So imagine your bad guy who sees this cute puppy and he's like scratching his ear. He's like, oh, you're so cute. Or he sees a little old lady and he helps her across the street. That's called a pet the dog moment. So for my character, his name is Azrael. He's the angel of death. He's an assassin, one of the most feared assassins in all of Pandaren. And he cherishes the sunrise. And it's always like a new beginning for him. He's alive one more day kind of a thing, a new start, fresh start. And the way that came about was with my dog Gunner, I would always throw the ball to him on the golf course. And we were out there very early a lot because for some reason, you know, dogs know how to tell time. And so he knew to go out there at a certain time. And so I saw many, 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 many beautiful sunrises. And so that was just one of the things I wanted to really capture with Azrael, was the sunrise. And the line actually comes from his mom when he was younger of, you know, they would watch the sunrise together. And she would say, here it comes, the light chasing away the darkness. So that's how the title came about. I didn't even know, I didn't know that was the title when I was first writing it. But then that kind of
I got goosebumps because I'm all about light pushing out the darkness.
Yeah. And we all have, you know, a little darkness inside, some more than others, but like me. But so that's kind of how Azrael came to be. The cover is very much inspired by Assassin's Creed for any of you video gamers out there. It's got an Assassin's Creed feel, and he's kind of scary looking. It's a romantic fantasy. And I've actually, a lot of my beta readers and people I've had read it, they're not fantasy readers either. I think I'm really one of my only friends who reads this stuff, but they liked it too, just because it's not an epic fantasy like Tolkien or Game of Thrones. It's a romantic fantasy. So there's the romance in there, and then, you know, there's action and magic, and sword fights is always fun too. So I'm totally drawn to each of the characters, and likable. Yeah. You know, like the assassin is likable. Yeah, he becomes, you find yourself cheering for him and wanting to strangle him at the same time. Which is, you know, my goal. Accomplished. It was accomplished, yep. Yep, and then we have a brother-sister duo, and I have an older brother who, we get along now. We didn't get along for the first 21 years of my life, but
we choke him out a little bit.
No, he choked me out actually.
Oh my God.
No, he's I always got in trouble for touching his stuff, kind of a thing, like playing with his Star Wars figures or whatever. But now we're really good buddies. So being able to write that brother-sister duo was an easy write. That was just fun to have the bantering and the bickering.
Yes.
And the older brother being protective of baby sister kind of a thing. So
yeah, I totally loved it. It was so great.
It was fun.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So, as you're going through your workshops, and how did you create the whole idea? Do you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah. It was, like I said, I was actually working on a whole other idea for books that were more just on the romance side, not the fantasy. And then my boys were playing a video game one day. And, of course, they were yelling at each other, so I had to go intervene. And so then I was kind of watching the video game, and I'm like, And there was this character on there that I just found really intriguing. And, sometimes that creativity bug just smacks you upside the head when you're not really expecting it. So I just sat down at the kitchen table, and I wrote a scene about an assassin who was betrayed by his team, who was in the dungeon. And that is actually part of chapter 4. So when I first started writing it, that was actually the first scene. But then as, you start crafting the story and whatnot, it changes and moves and flows. And so, but yeah, that's kind of how this whole thing started. And I never planned really, I just was writing to have fun. Like, I just had a purpose. Like I said, I had a reason to get up in the morning. I had a fire in my soul that I'm like, okay, I know what I want to do today. And so I just started writing the story. I never really expected it to really take off like it has. And, it's now going to be a trilogy. So the second one is, it's written. It's still got it's got a lot of work to do. Still, I got to do a lot of cleaning up. But I just never planned for any of that. So, the next time I write a trilogy, I'll have a better roadmap of what I want to do. Now I'm kind of playing catch up. But it's so fun. I love the writing. I love getting up, whatever time it is that I happen to wake up. I'm going to be 50 on Sunday.
Oh, happy birthday.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And
50 and fabulous.
50 and fabulous. And, of course, the whole hormone, menopause, wiggity-whack, waking up in, 3 in the morning, okay, now I'm awake. And now I actually have something to do with that time. Instead of organizing the drunk drawer, I actually write. So, yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, so that's what's really cool. And with the whole identity crisis is, we all have a dream somewhere deep inside of us. And, some dreams are impossible. Like, I wanted to be a dolphin trainer. I live in the bloody desert. It's not going to happen. Unless our zoo got a dolphin, which, I think they have seals. That's cool. But I always wanted to do that.
Well, how about an armadillo trainer of some sort?
Yeah, that would not be fun at all.
Can't you roll them into bowling balls?
I don't know. Yeah, I could maybe try to train a coyote. No, it'd probably eat me. But anyway, so, there are some dreams that we have that, we may or may not be able to do. But this dream really came out of nowhere. And I just encourage people to just jump in and do it. Don't be afraid of not finishing it or failure or not knowing enough, because we never know enough, right? We're always learning.
I'm always learning.
Yeah, there's always something new to learn. So if we let fear hold us back, and not step forward and try, at least give it a go, right? And I'm just so glad I did. And like I said, there's still, I've only written one book. I have a ton to learn, and I'm constantly learning, which is part of me anyway. I love that. Like, I could go back to college if I could remember. My memory is not as good, but I love being in school and learning and doing all that. So, yeah,
that is so great.
Oh, well, then you need to teach some writing courses, perhaps, which can combine the best of your two loves, right? Education, learning, and writing. So that might be a way. In my writing, I occasionally do some small, group seminars and stuff that really you learn from the people who ask you questions that maybe you never thought of. So that may be something that will kind of spread your horizons a little bit and help other people at the same time.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned that because I was at a book club last night doing my book, and someone said, they're like, "What? You're just so passionate about this. Have you ever thought about teaching writing classes?" And I can teach what I've learned so far, but I feel like, I'm not qualified yet to actually teach a class or a seminar. But it would just be fun just to talk with people about it and bounce ideas off, and it is something I do have. A part of my personality character is a little bit of a teacher in there. I'm always analyzing people's golf swing, like, you could do that differently.
Golf swing?
Yeah. Could be. Or I guess I'm just critical is what it comes down to. But
a little bit of a perfectionist?
Actually, you know what? No, I'm not.
Well, that's
interesting. I am not a perfectionist. I think I tend more to the lazier side of things, in all honesty. I'm like, it's better than it was. That's like my slogan. It's better than it was. So, yeah, I was saying that a lot when I was cleaning the bathroom the other day. I'm like, well, it's better. Not super sanitary, but it is better.
You need to attend the Irma Bombeck workshop. Do you know who that is?
Yeah, I do, actually.
For those that don't, she is probably the best humor writer of women, female writers. Not that you want to put people into categories, but she was known for titles like The Grass is Always Greener Over the Septic Tank and stuff like that. She just had really great ways to look at things. And as I listen to you, you are just naturally very funny, and you might find that you could knock off some pretty funny essays.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I'm glad you think I'm funny, and many people don't. Find me rather offensive.
Well, the person who was in the bathroom when you were cleaning it probably didn't find it funny, but...
yeah.
But
and my husband's like, "Could you clean the bloody bathroom?" Anyway.
But they, what I wanted to say is there's an annual every other year workshop in, I think it's Dayton, Ohio. It's called the Irma Bombeck Workshop, and it's just hundreds of people attend every 2 years and just all get together as humor writers and kind of in her spirit, in her vibe, and it's probably something you would excel at.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I'll look into that because that would be fun. I'm wanting to, now that things are opening up again and whatnot, I'd love to go and do some workshops and meet some other authors and whatnot, because writing is a pretty solitary event. As you know, you're by yourself sitting at a desk and looking at a computer or whatever for hours. So it would be nice to meet other authors and just, now that I have a little bit more understanding, to chit chat and get ideas and, yeah. So
you are not alone, as you will find out.
Yes. So, yeah, that's a great idea. I'm going to look into that for sure.
I love it.
Yeah. Well, this might be a good time to take our break, Chrissy. It's just about 9:30 our time, 7:30 where you are, and we'll come back and continue with Cassie Sanchez, award-winning author, proud wife and mom, along with Chrissy Cantor in just a couple of moments right here on 99.9 and AM 1370 WFEA.
So your plan was to work a few more years and then retire. And then all this happens. You start to wonder, could I retire early? You're not alone asking that question. Hello, this is Tom Bruckner at Senior Financial Resources and host of Retirement Intelligence on WFEA AM and FM. We're seeing an increasing number of clients in their late 50s facing involuntary early retirement. If you're among them, can you actually retire as planned on fewer dollars? Let's find out. Give us a call at Senior Financial Resources and we'll run your numbers at no charge. What does it look like to retire now or 1, 2, or 3 years from now? You had a retirement timeline, but things changed. Can you move it up? Let's find out. Call us today for a complimentary retirement analysis at 595-4990. That's 595-4990. Or visit us online at seniorfr.com.
Thomas Bruckner, New Hampshire Insurance License 0357441.
Do you get in trouble for taking things apart just to see how they work? Or do you get frustrated when something doesn't work the way it should? Are you the type of person who just has to figure it out? Why not get paid for it? Summit Packaging Systems is hiring mechanics for second shift. If troubleshooting is your specialty, Summit Packaging Systems wants you. Visit summitpackagingsystems.com, click Join Us. That's summitpackagingsystems.com, click Join Us. Wouldn't you like a 3-day weekend every week? What about working only 3 days every week and having 4 days off? At Summit Packaging Systems, you can have that flexible schedule. Call us at 603-669-5410 or apply online at summitpackagingsystems.com. Click Join Us. Wouldn't you like to work for a company that cares about you and provides competitive pay and excellent benefits? Summit Packaging Systems is that company. Come check us out. Summit provides more money per hour if you work off hours or weekends. Apply at summitpackagingsystems.com. Click Join Us.
Now, back to Chill and Heal on 99.9 and AM 1370 WFEA.
Welcome back. Welcome back, everyone. And Caitlin, Chill Girl Caitlin, is live at Chill Spa. How are you, Caitlin?
I'm awesome. Having a great morning. The sun's shining. It's cold, but it looks like it's warm out. So that's a good sign.
That is hysterical because there is snow here in New Mexico. I think like 5 inches.
Oh my gosh.
It's crazy.
Yeah. I'm not here for it.
So what's going on at Chill today?
We're going to have an awesome day. Me and Kim are here so far. Chill Girl Kim. She's getting the place ready. And, we're talking our deal of the week this week. We have our Jan Marini pads, which is kind of an interesting product because it's almost like giving yourself a little mini resurfacing treatment or a peel at home, which I love. Anything we can do at home to support what we're doing at Chill. So there's 2 different options, and if you have questions about which one's right for you, just give us a little buzz here at Chill, and we can help you out. But they're 20% off, and the code for that is PADS, PADS 20. So you get 20% off your resurfacing pad. So it helps with a little bit of everything. It will help with clearing up acne. It will help with giving your skin a nice glow, improving the texture. And when we exfoliate, that helps every other product that we're using to penetrate better into your skin, so you're going to get better results. So that's our deal of the week this week.
And I'm so glad I have my peel pads out here because I definitely need to use it. I'm going to have to give you one, Cassie.
Oh, yeah.
It reminds me of back in the day in the 80s with the Stridex pads. Except
way better professional ingredients.
Yes, special ingredients, but it's that idea, and I love them.
Yeah. I've been loving listening. I'm loving the story. I was actually thinking to myself, because like the title of the show with the identity crisis and so forth, I was chatting with some friends because I am a mom of younger kids, and a lot of my friends have younger kids, and we were chatting about the identity crisis of like, oh my gosh, I'm a mom. I didn't know what to expect because there is no real expectations, but like, what do I do now? Like my life is so different, and incorporating like working and being a mom and being home and that whole balance. So it's kind of interesting because there can be identity crises at like so many different points of your life. You know, you go from working and, you know, kind of like that boss babe or corporate or whatever it is, and then now your life shifts, and like how do you do that? So it's kind of, you know, I was resonating with me on that, where I was just talking about that the other day with some girlfriends. So
it is true. We have, you know, and on my website I actually called an identity shift, because even though it did feel like a crisis to me at the time, I was thinking through that, and you're absolutely right. During different phases of life and career and family and relationships, we all have these shifts that we have to, you know, keep pivoting to fit and make that work at that certain time in life. So enjoy those littles. I know everybody's told you that you blink and they're all grown up, but it actually is really true. It's weird.
It is true.
And, you know, if you really want to write a successful book, write a book about parenting adult children, because, oh, my God, they're awful. I can't ground him and put him in his room anymore. I just, like, what do you do with a 23-year-old that you want to smack around a little bit, but who's 6 foot and really hairy and big, so it wouldn't work. Anyway.
That definitely needs to be a book.
Someone needs to write that. I guess I don't have the experience yet, but I might have to do it. I don't know.
That is funny.
The thing is, we're not alone.
We really aren't. And I think the key is just to be, you know, talking about it, like bringing it to the light, which is kind of my underlying theme of my book is, we sometimes get into these traps where we think we are alone, especially if you've been in the corporate world and then all of a sudden you're a stay-at-home mom and your conversations are with a 2-year-old.
Yeah.
You feel very much alone. And it's so important to have that network of friends or support system where you can just air it out. Like, let's just be real and talk about what we're struggling with and not act like we have it all together, because that doesn't service anyone.
Yeah.
Not
So
at all.
true. It's so true. So there's some things in your book that I love. What is your superpower? I just love that. And I'm like, and it's like, what are our superpowers? Our gifts that we really engage, and like you had this gift, you didn't really know you had it, and then you fueled it with workshops and just your son going, hey, write a book, Mom.
Yeah. I think it's important, to I never would have thought of writing as my superpower. I'd say my superpower is more sarcasm, but which can go good or bad. But in my book I obviously have magic. So then that superpower of trying to figure out what you're good at, your weaknesses and your strengths, and then going for it. And like I said, continue to learn. Like with writing, learning that whatever you want to do with your life, your dreams, your goals, whatever, just find that and then start nurturing it, light that fire, because we don't want to be defined by our job. We don't want to, that's not who we are. It's part of who we are, but we're not I'm not just a wife. I'm not just a mother. I'm not just a sister. I'm not just a daughter. I'm all of these things, but finding that writing was exactly mine. That was all mine. And that's, I think, important for us to have.
Yeah. And it fills your soul.
Yeah.
And it's like you're on fire.
Yeah. Finally having I had purpose, but really was lacking that at this certain time. And I finally had a purpose in my mind. My mom got all, okay, now, honey, you have purpose. You're important. You're special. And I'm like, okay, thanks, Mom. However, I was like you said, lacking that in my soul of something. Yeah. And so I am so glad that, Chase challenged me to write a book, and that, I jumped in the deep end without floaties. That's pretty much it.
So it's about taking that challenge
and going for it, and not, we've all heard it, being afraid to fail. We all fail. That's how we learn. We never learn. We learn through pain, unfortunately, because we're just stubborn human beings. But failure is just a great way to learn. And it doesn't mean you're a failure. It just means, I need to work on this. This is a weakness. I need to strengthen that,
Yeah.
And you'll find if you become a humor writer or do some humorous essays, there's nothing better for that as far as material goes than failure, because you will always find the funny parts of it and say, oh, God, what an idiot I was. And then you can riff on that. And you can almost use anything in your life, whether it's failure, success, love, being frightened. It all can be worked. And you know this because you're a writer. I'm sure you're working all little parts of your life into your stories.
Oh, yeah. Except cutting people's heads off because he's an assassin. I haven't done that yet.
That's legal in New Mexico, isn't it?
I do have a sword now, so it could get ugly. But, I do. It's actually funny. I was having breakfast with my brother, and we were at a restaurant, and we were talking, and I was just really frustrated about something. And there's people waiting to get in the restaurant, and we're talking. And he said, just go home and kill somebody, and you'll feel so much better. And he's talking about me writing like a death scene, and I would feel better. But these people are looking at me like, what the heck? I'm like, okay, I'm an author. I can get away with this. Don't pick off an author because you will die in a book,
Yes, the character is based on true events or true people.
Yeah. Well, that's what they say, you should talk about, when you're marketing your book, how you can help others with your book. And I'm like, he's an assassin. What do you mean tell you how to hold a sword and, effectively cut someone's head off? I don't think that's a good help. That's not self-help we want to talk about.
Well, it is. I found some self-help in your book.
Oh, you did?
Yes, I did. Your mantra, pain is inescapable. Suffering is a choice. Mm-hmm. And I was like, wow. And he keeps saying that. Pain is inescapable. Suffering is a choice. And I love that, because sometimes we create our own suffering.
Mm-hmm.
And so that brought me to that awareness that, how are we going to fuel the negativity in our life or the pain in our lives? Are we going to do a positive spin on it, or are we going to fuel it? And, so I felt, I have to make a shout out to my dear friend, Anne Marie. She's been going through some pain that is inescapable right now. And I just want everyone, please say some prayers to take away her pain. She is so loved by all of us. And so that her suffering is not a choice right this second. But my thing is, there are so many things in your book with the good and the evil,
mm-hmm.
and what is truth. And how we've been told the story. So there were so many things that I felt it was self-help for me, because even though it's fantasy, I was like, well, wait a second, these people are wearing masks and their identity is unveiled. Yeah. And then there's just, to me, it was a little bit of a self-help book.
Oh, good.
With your mantras and the good versus the evil, the vulnerability with your assassin.
Mm-hmm.
I was like,
Well, when I was learning, there's one book about, building the pillars of a novel, and there's like 12 pillars, but the 4 main ones, like if you're building a house, C.S. Lakin, Lakin, is the author of those. But one of those pillars is to have theme with heart, not just a theme, but theme with heart. And the underlying theme through Chasing the Darkness is redemption and forgiveness is, one of the underlying themes. But yeah, the pain is inescapable. Suffering is a choice. We're all going to go through, really hard times, and how we handle them is that, I think, part of the suffering is a choice. Like, how are we going to handle it? Like,
right.
Last year I was going through, just a really hard time. My dad was dying of Alzheimer's. I fell and tore a tendon in my right thumb. It was really nasty, but I had a cast on for 6 weeks, and I'm right-handed, of course. So my creativity a lot of times is through, pen and paper. I had that, and then my husband thought it'd be fun to bring home a puppy. So, not fun, not a good idea. And anyway, and then COVID, and all of this, and I found myself, ironically, because my main character has a little bit of an anger management problem, but I was just angry. I was just ticked off all the time. And there were times where, what my circumstances were inescapable, but I was not handling them well. I just went like the wrong direction with that. And it's good to, kind of step back and go, okay, how can we pivot that and address this differently? Like, okay, I can't control COVID. I can't control what's happening to my dad. I cannot. So what do I do to rise above and just try to do better? My personality is I'm more of a half glass empty kind of gal. So it's just ironic that I married a guy whose glass is overflowing with rainbows and lollipops and unicorns. And so drives me nuts, but he's a good balance for me to kind of get the positive. So it's, it is good. And I actually, at the Comic-Con, there was a lady who is suffering from chronic pain, and she's like, I'm buying the book just because of that tagline, which I think is great, because people are suffering in all different areas, all different walks of life, and how we handle it can really, I think, impact the path we're on. It might not take away the pain, but I think it can impact your joy.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Kudos. I'm like, I think a third of the way through, and I love it. It's really unbelievable.
Oh, good. I'm glad that you're enjoying it.
Thank you. Yeah. So there's a lot of wildness in your book. I love the characters, the relationships.
Mm-hmm.
It's just so good.
Yeah, those are fun to write. We all have relationships in our lives where they make our eyes twitch a little bit. In fact, actually, what was funny is I used that phrase, I think, a couple times, like, making my eye twitch. And I had to, take a few of those out, because obviously that's my main, okay, I'm twitching over here. But yeah, the relationship parts are fun. We have like the brother-sister, and then we have, Azrael trying to figure out like what true friendship actually looks like. lost relationships. There's betrayal, lots of sword fights, which is that's actually pretty fun to write. I did have some people like, how do you write these battle scenes so well?
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, actually one time my boys were watching Deadpool again, and
I don't even know Deadpool.
Oh, honey. Okay. It's a Marvel character.
I don't either, Chrissy. Don't feel bad.
Okay. It's a good bad superhero movie.
Yeah. Don't take your littles to see that. It's an R-rated superhero movie.
Yes.
But I guess it's canon. It's true to form of this character. Anyway, Deadpool, played by Ryan Reynolds, but this character has two swords on his back, which my character has two swords on his back. And so the boys were watching that movie, and I kept pausing like, oh, look, he spun there. Oh, look, he flipped there. And they're like, Mom. I'm like, I'm doing research, on Deadpool for how to do a fight scene, but it's definitely fun.
So much fun. I'm so impressed being your first book, and I can just picture it being a movie.
Yes, wouldn't that be fabulous?
Yeah.
Or a Netflix show, as long as they don't mess it up. But my husband actually knows he owns a production studio in Austin, and he has the book right now.
Ooh.
So fingers crossed that you never know, because that would help me get out of the hole. That's for sure.
I love it. Oh
so,
my
yeah.
gosh.
And it's actually, this is kind of exciting too. I'm in the process of producing an audiobook for Chasing the Darkness. So that they're recording it right now. So
with your voice or someone else's voice?
No, not. I mean, I can get my voice very low, but I don't think I'm as sexy assassin. And I can't act worth a darn. So no, I have. They did a casting call for that, and so.
Oh, that's so cool.
I picked a guy. He actually lives in New Zealand, but we do not have New Zealand accents. Even though I do love that accent, it's not in the book.
Mm-hmm. That's so awesome. So I met you at, what is it called, Comic-Con?
Well, no,
No, I didn't meet you there. But
when you came to the Comic-Con.
Comic-Con, okay, which was unbelievable. And can you tell people what that is?
Well, yeah. So
because I had no idea.
Yeah. So and I've only been to two, so I'm still kind of a rookie at it. But Comic-Cons really are where these people, they love to dress up. It's called cosplay, and they dress up as their favorite anime character, or they come up with their own characters. And there's usually they have some actors that have been in shows, or they have a lot of voice actors are very popular. Carlisle from Twilight was at the last one.
Ooh.
Yeah, I wanted to go say hi, but I didn't. But they have different actors. People are selling all kinds of, whether it's artwork. One guy was actually selling swords, I really wanted to go over there. But there's authors there, just a lot of different things. And it's just an event. It's like a 3-day event. It's very long, and the people that go to these events are just fired up. They're just so excited to be there, which makes it fun, to sell whatever you're selling there. But it's just a really fun event. And yeah, you'll know a Comic-Con's in town when you start seeing people dressed up very interestingly.
Yeah.
And it's not Halloween. So.
Like superheroes.
Yeah, a lot of superheroes, a lot of anime characters.
The Hulk was there.
Yep.
I didn't get to see him.
I actually the old Hulk. Let's go back to
at the end. Yes,
yeah.
The old one.
Yeah, they have all kinds of different actors. I applied for one in the Fan Expo in Dallas, which would be a huge event, and that's in the summer. So I applied to get, hopefully we'll get a table there. So, yeah.
So where can we find your book, and where can we, if we want a book signed, or are you doing any events in the near future?
Hopefully we'll get some more book signing events now that our mask mandate's been lifted and things are lightening up over here in Albuquerque. I'm hoping to have a book signing event. I met the general manager at Barnes & Noble, so that's very exciting.
Awesome.
We were in the elevator together, and so that worked out well. I tracked her.
Well, they always talk about the 30-second elevator speech. Did you put that one into service?
Well, I didn't. Coming up with that, the elevator pitch is probably one of the hardest things about writing, in all honesty. But no, we were just, because Barnes & Noble in Albuquerque was being remodeled, and so I was just chit-chatting with her about it. And then when she told me she was a general manager, I'm like, oh, well, ironically, I've already dropped a book off here, and here's my card, So hopefully May or June I'll have a book signing there. And I'm working on a couple other local bookstores. Bookworks here in Albuquerque on Rio Grande is actually carrying it. It was so exciting. I was able to go down there. I signed the copies that they had and took a picture, and actually seeing the book on a bookshelf, I was just shocked out of my mind. It was very cool. So that was a fun experience. So Bookworks in Albuquerque. Otherwise, it's on all the online, Amazon, Barnes and Noble, Books A Million, your local like indie stores will have it probably online. My website is CassieSanchez.com, and there's just a bunch of information on that you can check out. If you want a signed copy, that becomes a little trickier. You can email me because I do have copies at my house that I can get to you if you're interested in a signed copy. Only in the United States, though, because shipping right now is outrageous overseas.
Forget it. The books I sell are like $20, and it costs more than that to ship it to Canada. And I have people that want it in Canada. So that really is messed up.
It really is. Yeah, I can't. I had someone win a contest, and I'm like, can I just give you an Amazon gift card? Because seriously, I'm gonna lose my shorts if I have to send this book overseas.
Wow. Are you self-published, Cassie, or do you have a publisher?
Well, I have a publisher. It's Morgan James Publishing. They're actually a hybrid publisher. I'm not sure if you're familiar. They're kind of in between traditional and self-published. So they help you with the traditional part, but then like a lot of the marketing and all of that falls onto my shoulders, which is fine. So they're really good to work with. They're a Christian publisher, actually. So I had to kind of clean up my book a little bit. So, my mom and my son read the naughtier version. That was so naughty. In fact, what's funny, so there's a sex scene in chapter 26. So now anytime like our family is talking about sex, we always just allude to chapter 26. We just, you chapter 26, did you? That kind of, so it's fun.
Well, how did you feel about the editing of stuff that you had written? Because clearly it doesn't offend you, but your publisher, who is footing some of the bill, doesn't like that. Do you think you'll move on to perhaps a more secular publisher next time?
Yeah, so that was like, I wanted to be very clear before I signed with Morgan James, like what exactly are you wanting me to fix? Because this is a romance story as well as a fantasy, and romance readers have a certain expectation. And I don't like the scenes where they like shut the door. I'm like, no, that does not satisfying for me at all, that you guys went into the bedroom and shut the door. So I wanted to know specifically what they wanted me to change before I signed anything. And what they changed, actually, it was fine. It actually forced me to be a better writer, to use different words and sayings that had more of a seductive bent than just, I won't say it on the show, but you know what I mean. Now, the other two books, I know, this is a PG show, darn it. The other two books, I don't know if I'll publish with Morgan James. It depends, because they require you to have some skin in the game, which means a financial investment. And right now I can't afford to. So unless they come back with a stellar deal, I'll probably, and an agent or publisher won't pick up this series mid-series, unless of course it became a Netflix show, then all bets are off, But so right now unless Morgan James comes back with a really good deal, I'll probably be self-publishing the other two, now that I've got some credibility and a following and whatnot. So, yeah. But that was also one cool thing about publishing with a hybrid publisher, is I had complete control of the cover and I had complete control of the title. So that was really nice for me, because I was very specific how I wanted this cover to look, because any fantasy readers out there, or that there's some really cheesy covers, and we were not going to go cheesy on this one. So
yeah, there's nothing cheesy about your cover.
No.
I love it, and I love the feel of it too.
Yeah, thank you.
And Chasing the Darkness, I love the title.
Yeah, so the second one is going to be called Embracing the Darkness.
Ooh,
yeah. And then the third one, if things go as planned, is going to be Conquering the Darkness.
Oh, my gosh.
My mom's like, you're obviously going with the dark theme. I'm like, yeah.
We've got to overcome.
That's why we're conquering it, Mom. Come on.
Yeah. That is so great.
Do you like getting out and doing presentations? Do you do any speeches besides like Comic-Con, or go to like libraries, or social
Yeah,
groups?
actually, a couple weeks ago, I had my first author talk at a public library here in town, and that was fine. I think being a marketing major, giving public speeches, thankfully, doesn't bother me. And with the book and the writing process and my story behind it, I know it so well that it's very easy to talk about. So I really do enjoy that. I would like to do more events. It's just since it's a fiction, trying to find the right place to do a speaking engagement is a little tricky. Like, nonfiction, you can go all kinds of places and do talks. But with fantasy, like I said, I can't do a assassination workshop. That wouldn't go over well.
Yeah, I did a book club presentation a couple of weekends ago at a really cool, kitschy, well, I won't say kitschy, just a very unique bar in Concord called Area 23.
Concord, I've been there.
You've been to Concord? And people read your book ahead of time, and then they come with questions. You sign it, and you have cocktails while you're doing your presentation. That was really fun. If there's some book clubs that meet at really cool bars, that might be something you would enjoy.
I would love that, actually. I was thinking about that because I had a launch party, and I thought it'd be fun to do it at a brewery because my character does hang out at a tavern often. Or there's this axe throwing place, that people throw axes. It was just going to be really, really expensive to do that at the time. But if I could find a book club that does that, I think that would be super fun.
Yeah. You throw axes at X's? Is that what it is?
Yeah, that's exactly, yeah. Axes at X's. That's a good marketing ploy right there.
It really is.
Just trying to help you out there, Cassie. That's all.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Oh, my gosh. That's so great. So is there one thing you want people to – is there something that you can share, like when it comes to your identity shift? I love how you changed that. Some encouragement.
Well, I think, for me, it's the bring it to light, face it, own it. Like, okay, I'm going through this identity shift or crisis, whatever, and face it. Like, let's just deal with it. Let's just be real. And talk to somebody about it, and then let's come up with a solution. I'm not one to let's complain about something like, oh, I'm really fat while I eat a donut, right? It's like, don't complain. You can't complain about stuff like that if you're not going to try to fix it. So I think bringing it to light, talking about it, owning it, and then coming up with a solution and dare to dig deep into your personality, your dreams, your goals, whatever, and find something that really fulfills you.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. And so everyone, find your superpower, own it, craft it, and be who you are. And it brings joy. It brings joy to our souls.
And provides that healing that you need,
Yes.
We chill and heal.
That's right. Chill and heal. Chill, heal, and grow.
Yep.
Man.
And go to CassieSanchez.com. You're lucky you got your name because I tried to get mine and it was already taken by a used car dealership.
Oh,
what a ripoff.
I know.
I was actually surprised. There's more Cassie Sanchez's than I thought. But when I got that, I'm like, dude,
Woohoo!
domain name. It was done.
All right. Time to wrap it up there, Chrissy.
All right. Thank you for spending time this morning with us, chilling. Thank you, Cassie, for being our special guest. And until next time, remember, if you have a hiccup in your day, shake things off, let it go, and shine bright. Hugging your loved ones will make every day a chill day. Enjoy this beautiful day.
Bye. Thank you.
Sending virtual chill hugs.
Oh, virtual chill hugs. Love you.
Bye.
Bye.